Cheers, guys, and welcome to Uncle Scott's Pancast Podcast. A lot going on in the old Pancast today. Got a couple of mini reviews. We're going to talk about chicken, smoked chicken versus Costco chicken. We're going to talk a little bit about the Falk copper core, viewer feedback, cast of thousands, and more. Let's jump in and get started. I'm going to start because it was part of the toast here. With the ice cube that I have marinating here. And I made that with one of these guys. These are Tovolo Sphere ice molds, a 4-pack. I saw these guys at Costco. I've got some other Tovolo ice molds. I've got a football. I've got other spheres. And I think it makes having a beverage or two a little bit more fun if you got a custom ice cube or ice sphere. So let's show you how they work here. Got this guy in there cooking. And of course you can use distilled water or boil your water first and it'll be a little bit more clear. I didn't do that for this first batch here. Pretty good looking sphere. I had one of them that was a little bit egg shaped, but this one's pretty good. Let's see if we can get a good spin. Pretty good spin. So Tovolo Sphere ice molds. I think they actually do make drinks taste better, and that is not as crazy as it sounds. They've done studies, and I'm probably mixing and matching a little bit here. But for example, if you were to drink a glass of wine, the same wine in a red Solo plastic cup will not taste as good as the exact same wine in a proper wine glass. It does something to your brain, and your brain changes the expectations for the wine when you taste it. And I think it's the same way with drinks. If you got a nice ice cube or ice sphere or something special, I think it does make it taste a little bit better. But I am willing to do more research. All right, let's talk about chicken. Specifically smoking some chicken. We had a cookout over here a couple of weekends ago, and I made a pork butt, smoked a pork butt on my Kamado Joe. I did that on a Sunday, and we had to cook out on a Monday. It was for Memorial Day. And then on Memorial Day, I did ribs. And then we had one guy brought burgers and dogs, and another guy brought a smoked chicken. And man, that smoked chicken was delicious. So immediately I had to say, I'm going to smoke a chicken like that. I smoked a chicken over the weekend, and I used this guy here. This is a Norpro Stainless Steel vertical roaster, and what these are for is kind of for the people that like to do the beer can chicken. This is kind of a fancier version of the beer can that you would put inside your chicken. Now, those beer can chickens, I know people do that, and lots of people love it. I have never liked sticking an aluminum can inside a chicken to cook in an oven. I don't trust the aluminum, so I have never been a big beer can chicken person. At my admittedly overpriced local grocery store, I bought this chicken, and this guy is an organic air chilled bird, but $24 for this guy, between 4 and 5 pounds. Absolutely outrageous. But I wet brined him, and I actually used a recipe I got off of Grok, and I used water, salt, brown sugar, some herbs. I think I had some rosemary and thyme and maybe some dill in there. Also added some crushed garlic, some black pepper, and I can't remember what else. But I brined that chicken overnight in the fridge and then got it out and dried it, put some more seasoning on it, slid it down onto the roaster here. You may feel some slight discomfort there, buddy. And got that guy on my Kamado Joe and smoked it. I think it took a good 3.5 hours to get that bird done, and it turned out pretty nicely, and it was very moist and flavorful. So I do like the Norpro Stainless Steel vertical roaster. Now the question here is it a good idea to do that? It takes time. You've got a disgusting dead bird in your refrigerator. You go for a glass of milk, there's a soaking dead bird in there. You've got the cleanup, raw chicken, raw poultry, versus a Costco chicken. Now the Costco chickens have a lot going for them. I can be from my house to Costco with a chicken and back in about 28 minutes. It's ready to go on the table. It's not a 2-day process. And it's only about $5. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if I doubt that it's air-cooled organic chickens they're using. So I like the process of smoking a chicken. I like to be able to do it and have it turn out nicely. I like having the organic chicken. But is the cost and the time and the effort and the cleanup, is it worth it when I could buy 5 Costco chickens for the same price as this bird? That I don't know. I do like the organic. I like being able to do it myself. But good Lord, 5 for 1? That's a tough call. What do you guys think? Costco versus doing it yourself? Let's talk a little bit about the Falk copper core pan that I am reviewing. And the review is coming along. I've filmed 9 cooks so far, and I'm going to film a couple more. And it's this guy right here. But I wanted to mention this guy because I got some feedback the other day from a guy named, let's see, Casper Vindler, 1726, saying he was liking the Falk and was thinking about getting one to use on a Breville. And I don't want to jump the gun too much on the review here, but before he bought one, I wanted everybody to know that these things, they do work very well on the Breville, but I would not get this size. This is the big one. This is the 12.6 centimeter, and I measured the bottom of this guy, and it is about 10.5 inches from edge to edge on the bottom. Those Breville control freaks say that they're good for pans up to 10 inches wide, and we've gone back and forth on this before, and there's a little bit of controversy. The Breville control freak induction burners, it says you can use a 10-inch wide pan, but that doesn't mean the coil underneath is 10 inches. And I think we resolved that it's somewhere around 8 inches wide. So this big wide pan, it hangs over the coil. And even though it has a lot of copper in it, there's actually more copper in this Falk copper core than there is in a Moviel M200 or a Debuye Eno Cuivre. Those are 2 millimeter thick pans. This one's 2.5 millimeters thick. Even though you got the stainless steel, there's still more copper than in some of those full copper pans. But it's not like an electric wire from a wall socket to a light, a copper wire where you just turn on the light switch and it's instantaneous. It's not like electricity. The copper still has to spread out heat, and this is a big, thick, wide, heavy pan. And you still get some of that effect where it cooks a little more in the center, even with the copper. So I completely blessed buying a Falk copper core to use on a Breville. Just don't get the 12.6. I would get the 11, and I think everything will be fine. Now, I've been doing a lot of cooking in the Falk, and I did want to show here. I did the fried egg test the other day, and quite impressive with the old fried egg there. And so far, I got to say this, I think they call it a satinated finish for a stainless steel skillet, at least so far. It's not non-stick, but I've had less sticking in this guy than any other stainless steel pan I have used. It's pretty amazing, actually. Now for the Falk, I'm going to do a couple more cooks in this guy. I'm going to do some steak au poivre, which I really like doing for the review videos. Actually, I really like steak au poivre as well, but getting to light the pan on fire, flambeing, I think that's kind of fun. And then one of the members of Uncle Scott's Great Home Cooks Club, Crazy Corgi Lady, asked me to do some pork. So I'm going to do some pork Provençal for one of the final cooks in the Falk. And that is a great recipe to do for a pan review video because there are multiple ingredients, multiple steps, temperature changes, stuff going in, coming out, going back in, a lot going on. And if it works well, that's some pretty delicious stuff, pretty delicious dish to eat. But if you enjoy the channel and want to get bonus content and have some influence over the stuff I do and help the channel grow, a very nice thing to do is join Uncle Scott's Great Home Cooks Club. Should be a link somewhere on this screen, and I'll put one below as well. Really do appreciate it, and if you do join, you will be thanked in an upcoming video. In the first video where I thank people is going to be the big Falk review. You still got a week or so to join up to get your name in that video. So check it out, Uncle Scott's Great Home Cooks Club, and join today. A couple other recipes I put up this week. I don't know if you guys saw them. I put up a sausage and kale recipe. Don't fear the kale. That's a good one to try. And also a simple pasta sauce recipe. One thing I think I'm going to start doing is putting up some more recipe videos, because a lot of time I do some in-depth cooking, but it only appears in pan reviews. For example, that white beans, kale, and tomatoes. It's pretty colorful, pretty tasty. That only appeared in the All-Clad D5 review. What I'm going to do, especially when people ask for a recipe after they see it in a review video, I'm going to kind of carve those out and start putting up a few more recipes. So we'll start having the big features, the Pancasts, and then supplement those with some recipes. Back deck planters. I have planted my organic, some of it's organic garden on my back deck. Again, this is the time of year when I go to Home Depot and spend $200 on dirt and plants and junk to grow $20 worth of vegetables, if they make it. Let's see, Jacob Smith, 2424, wrote in about the Ruffoni polenta pot I reviewed. It's been over a year or so now. He says, polenta is such a thick thing that loves to stick to the bottom and burn. I would never use a pan like this. Personally, this seems more like a pan you would use to boil water or something. Here, I'm going to say that Ruffoni, it is definitely not necessary to make good polenta. You can make good polenta in practically anything. Stainless steel, enamel cast iron, anything really. It's about like making grits. However, that Ruffoni is very decorative, very good looking pan. It's tin line copper, and it's very tall relative to its width. And if you get the polenta down in there, you don't want to fill it all the way to the top. Then the splattering is kind of contained, and it actually works pretty well for polenta, although not a day-to-day workhorse pan. Let's see, Huang Ek, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but wrote in from Singapore. So shout out to Singapore. Very nice to hear from someone from Singapore talking about eggs. And he says they don't ever store their eggs in the fridge in Singapore. Neither do they use butter, as it is imported and therefore more expensive compared to their local fats and oils. He says they use lard and peanut oil in Singapore rather than butter. And he follows that up by saying he didn't even know eggs could stick in the first place. So I guess the way they cook the eggs in Singapore, I don't know what kind of cookware they use, but with the fat and the lard and the peanut oil, no sticking for eggs in Singapore. A little bit more on butter. P.O. Bryan 864 says he's not sure if I've tried it or not, but he recommends Kerrygold Irish butter. Says it's also great. It's truly grass-fed, and it's which is next to impossible to find in the U.S. I think he's talking about the grass-fed butter. I've tried some of the New Zealand grass-fed butter, and I almost thought it had a little bit too strong of a grass flavor for me. I thought the French butter was a little bit more creamy, and I really did like that. I've not really used the Kerrygold. I'll see if I can get a hold of that, and then we'll put Irish butter to the test. And finally, after seeing a bunch of videos on YouTube being promoted to me about people sanding down or using angle grinders on Lodge cast iron skillets, I have one question for those people. Are you crazy? What is wrong with a Lodge cast iron skillet? Why are you grinding them down and polishing them smooth? I understand doing it for a YouTube video. That's one thing, and I've probably missed out on a couple million views by not doing it myself. But why do it? My Lodges, they work great. They cost less than $20 when I got mine. They're $25, less than $30 now. And if you heat them correctly and get your fat in the pan, they're non-stick. And I don't understand why to put on a respirator and turn your garage into a super fun site. Grinding down grinding down cast iron. If you really want a polished cast iron pan, those Smithies, I reviewed the big 12-inch one there, and I think it was $210. So definitely some expense there if you want a polished cast iron. I actually thought the polished smithy cooked more like a carbon steel. Very slick, but I didn't think it held the seasoning quite as well as perhaps maybe a traditional cast iron like a Lodge. I don't know. I am not on the grinding down and polishing bandwagon. Thank you for watching. Check out Uncle Scott's Great Home Cooks Club, and we'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Pancast Podcast.